Okay, so this time around we're diving into something a little different.
Yeah, definitely a bit off the beaten path.
This book you shared, Become the Maelstrom by D.H. Thorne.
Intriguing title, right.
It really got me thinking about magic in a whole new way. Thorne calls it agnostic magic, which I thought was a curious term.
It can be a little misleading.
Yeah, like are we talking about magic without spirits or deities or any of that?
Not quite. It's more about approaching magic with an open mind, without getting too caught up in dogma or preconceived beliefs.
So less about following a set of rules and more about personal experience.
Exactly. It's about exploring the raw energy of the spirit world directly and seeing what you discover.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but I have to admit the whole demonic inspiration thing Thorne talks about has me a bit, well, bit apprehensive.
I can understand that. It's definitely not your typical self-help advice.
Not exactly the kind of inspiration I'm used to seeking out. So, for those of us who might be a little hesitant to invite demonic anything into our lives, what's Thorne's take on all of this?
Well, I think the first thing to understand is that Thorne's view of demons is a bit different from the traditional fire and brimstone image many people have.
Okay, so less about eternal damnation, more about...
More about seeing them as potent sources of knowledge and insight. He challenges us to rethink this whole demons are evil narrative.
So instead of fearing them, we should be trying to befriend them, work with them. I'm not
Well,
sure I'm
Lucy.
ready to add demon summoning to my to-do list.
It's not quite as simple as that. Thorne emphasizes respect, understanding, approaching these entities with a willingness to learn.
So more like diplomacy than exorcism.
Exactly. Imagine approaching a powerful but misunderstood colleague. You wouldn't just waltz into their office and start making demands, would you?
I'd probably bring donuts, try to get on their good side. So how do you even begin to build a relationship with an entity that's existed in myth and legend for centuries?
Thorne suggests starting with clear communication, just like you would with any other being.
You mean like, Dear Beelzebub, hope this email finds you well?
Not exactly, but you get the idea. It's about stating your intentions, what you hope to gain from this interaction.
Setting some ground rules, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Precisely. And just like in any relationship, respect is key. Thorne talks about the importance of making offerings, not as a bribe, but as a gesture of good faith.
Interesting. So it's about building a connection, fostering a sense of trust, even with entities that we might not fully understand.
Exactly. And as you delve deeper into Thorne's system, you'll see that this theme of personal connection, of building relationships with the forces of the unseen world, is really at the core of his teachings.
Okay, so we've talked about demons, but Thorne also dives into a lot of other aspects of magic, right? Like
Yeah.
energy work, rituals, even things like scrying and tarot. How does all of that fit into this idea of agnostic magic?
It all comes back to this idea of personal experience, of tapping into your own innate power and connecting with these forces directly, without relying on intermediaries or dogma.
So less about following someone else's rules and more about discovering your own path.
Exactly. Thorne provides frameworks, but he encourages experimentation, finding what works best for you. That's the beauty of agnostic magic. There's no one right answer. It's about finding your own personal connection to these forces.
So we've got the energy flowing, we're vibing with the elements. What about the more visual, symbolic side of magic?
Thorne's all over that. He talks about ritual garments, tools, even a whole symbolic language he calls sigil script.
It almost feels like he's encouraging people to create their own magical universe.
Absolutely. Remember that idea of personalization. He wants you to make it your own.
The sigil script is a great example. It's like a visual code,
Yeah.
right? Like learning to speak the language of magic.
It's designed to bypass the logical mind and tap into something deeper, more intuitive. Imagine creating your own magical alphabet, a language that resonates with your subconscious.
Now that's taking creative visualization to a whole new level. He even has this whole ritual for stepping into your power as a sorcerer.
The ritual of the ninefold shadow, right? Intense stuff, mirrors, a bit of blood magic, a whole lot of intention. Thorne doesn't mess around.
Definitely not your average self-improvement seminar. But he's very clear about the importance of preparation, right? This isn't something to just jump into lightly.
Definitely not. This is about making a conscious choice to engage with some powerful forces. But for those who are drawn to this path, who resonate with this idea of tapping into these often misunderstood energies.
Thorne seems to be saying, here's a map, but be prepared for the journey.
And maybe pack some extra courage, because where we're going next is where things get really interesting.
Hmm.
Thorne believes that these entities, the ones we call demons, are actually potent sources of knowledge and insight.
Okay, but hold on a sec.
He's asking us to kind of rethink that whole demons are evil thing.
Right, like the whole fire and brimstone tempting you to stray from the righteous path kind of deal.
Yeah, instead of fearing them, he's saying we should try to understand them. It's more like, you know how you would approach, like, a powerful but misunderstood colleague?
I'm not sure I have any colleagues like that, thankfully.
Well, you wouldn't want to make them mad, right? You'd want to approach them with respect, try to understand where they're coming from.
Definitely wouldn't want to accidentally summon a demon at work.
Eh.
So how do you even begin to build a relationship with an entity that's, like, been feared for centuries?
Thorne's big on communication.
Even with spirits. You're going to email a demon.
Not email, but yeah, it's about stating your intentions, being clear about what you're hoping to gain from the interaction, setting boundaries, letting them know you're serious about this.
It's like, before you go into a big meeting, got to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. And respect is key, like in any relationship. He talks about making offerings, not as a bribe, but like a gesture of good faith.
Like bringing donuts to that big meeting.
Exactly. Showing that you're serious about connecting, that you value their presence.
Okay, but what about, like, the whole thing about demons tricking you
Hmm.
or leading you astray? Thorne acknowledges that, right?
Mhm.
That they can be a bit unpredictable.
He does. That's where discernment is key. Don't blindly accept everything you hear, even if it seems like it's coming from a powerful being. Question it, analyze it, see if it aligns with your intuition.
So trust your gut, even when you're dealing with, otherworldly beings.
Thorne talks about personal gnosis, knowledge that comes from direct experience. That's what you need to cultivate.
Like those aha moments when something just clicks.
Exactly. You feel it in your core. It resonates as truth. That being said, working with these entities can be challenging.
Even dangerous, I'd imagine.
He stresses preparation, both mentally and magically. Protection is huge, especially for beginners.
So we're talking, like, spiritual safety precautions.
Think of it like learning to swim. You don't just jump in the deep end without any lessons, do you?
Not if I want to actually, stay alive. Better safe than sorry, especially when you're dealing with courses you might not totally get.
Exactly. But for those who feel drawn to this path, Thorne provides a sort of roadmap.
A roadmap, too.
Where exactly?
To connecting with these entities.
Yeah.
He outlines a path-working system with a strong emphasis on respect, understanding, and the potential for serious transformation.
Sounds intense. It can be. And it all starts with building a relationship with a pretty powerful entity. Thorne seems to think this entity holds the key to understanding the Goetic tradition.
Okay, and this entity is... Don't tell me it's...
It's Lucifer.
Lucifer. Okay, before everyone freaks out, I'm assuming Thorne's view of Lucifer is a little different from the whole fallen angel thing, right?
Yeah, way different. Not so much the embodiment of evil, more like a guide, an initiator.
An initiator. What does that even mean?
Someone who helps you shed old beliefs, confront those shadow parts of yourself, a catalyst for self-discovery.
So it's less about eternal damnation, more about, like, facing your inner demons.
Yeah.
Literally.
You got it. Thorne believes that Lucifer can help us access hidden knowledge, tap into our own power. He even outlines a ritual for invoking Lucifer.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
What kind of ritual are we talking about?
It involves creating a sacred space, using a mirror as a focal point, even a blood sacrifice.
Blood, magic, and mirrors. That sounds like something out of a movie.
It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. And Thorne is very clear about that. He stresses the importance of preparation, understanding the potential risks, but also the potential rewards.
So what are the potential rewards of, hanging out with Lucifer?
He talks about increased spiritual awareness, enhanced magical abilities, a deeper understanding of yourself, even...
Deep spiritual glow up?
Kind of. But he also says it can be challenging. Confronting your shadow self can be a painful process.
No pain, no gain, right? So you've connected with Lucifer, you've faced your shadows. Now what?
Thorne introduces his path-working system, which involves connecting with the 9 Goetic Kings.
9 Goetic Kings, like a demonic royal family.
It's more like they each rule a different aspect of, like, existence. Thorne believes that by working with them, under Lucifer's guidance, we can achieve mastery in different areas of our lives.
So it's like having a team of, like, spiritual advisors, but instead of career advice, they're helping you tap into hidden knowledge and power.
Right. And Thorne provides tons of information about each king, their attributes, their powers, even the offerings that resonate with them.
So he's basically giving you the cheat codes to the spiritual world.
Kind of. He even includes descriptions of their sigils, which are like symbols you can use to connect with them.
So we have got Lucifer as our guide, the 9 Goetic Kings as our advisors, and a whole system of rituals and practices to connect with them. This is a lot to process.
It is a lot, but Thorne really believes that this path can help us manifest our true potential.
By tapping into these, let's be honest, kind of scary entities.
It's about understanding that they're not inherently good or evil. They're forces of nature, and like any force of nature, we can learn to work with them.
If we're brave enough.
And prepared. But scrying, working with spirits, it's not all there is to it. Thorne also talks about some more, let's say, traditional divination tools.
Like tarot cards.
You know it. But of course, Thorne's got his own take on them.
Of course he does. I'm almost afraid to ask.
He sees them as tools for self-reflection, connecting with intuition.
Okay, that makes sense. So less about fortune-telling, more about understanding yourself.
He's right. He's all about meditating on the symbolism, developing a personal relationship with your deck.
I like that. It's like he's saying these tools can help you unlock your own inner wisdom, not just predict the future.
Exactly. He even suggests a spread based on those 9 Goetic Kings we talked about to gain insight into their attributes, your connection to them.
So we've got scrying, tarot, spirit communication, working with demons. It's like Thorne's throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
I think he's trying to show that there are many paths to the same goal.
And what is that goal? What's the point of all of this?
It's about empowerment. Thorne wants us to realize we have the power to shape our own reality, you know? We can connect with the spiritual realm, tap into a source of power that's often demonized, misunderstood.
It's about reclaiming your power, both spiritually and in, like, everyday life.
Yes. It's about recognizing that you're not just a passive observer, you're an active creator of your experience.
We're not just along for the ride, we're in the driver's seat.
And sometimes that means taking the road less traveled, exploring those darker, more mysterious paths to uncover the hidden potential within.
Okay, so we've talked about connecting with demons, tapping into your own power, and even shaping your own reality. But Thorne doesn't stop there, does he? He connects this all back to a really interesting question. He connects it all back to this idea that we're not just passive observers in our own lives, right?
Yeah, like we're not just along for the ride, we're actually shaping our reality as we go.
So it's kind of like what you focus on, what you believe, it all kind of contributes to the reality you experience.
That's the gist of it. He's saying that we attract what we focus on, both, consciously and unconsciously.
Okay, so if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, expecting the worst, you're more likely to attract negative experiences.
That's the idea. But it also works the other way around. If you shift your focus to more positive things, abundance, joy, possibility, it can open you up to a whole new way of experiencing life.
So it's like you're tuning into a certain frequency, and that's the reality you're going to experience.
And magic, in Thorne's view, is about learning how to control that dial, how to become a more conscious creator of your own experience.
So it's less about like forcing things to go your way and more about aligning yourself with, I don't know, the natural flow of the universe.
Exactly. It's about understanding the forces at play and learning to work with them, to steer your life in the direction you want to go.
Like learning to surf. You can't control the waves, but you can learn to ride them.
Perfect analogy. And this whole process, it's not just about manifesting material wealth or success. It's about something much deeper than that.
It's about personal growth, self-discovery, that kind of thing.
Right. Thorne believes that true magic is about transformation, evolving your consciousness, expanding your awareness, becoming more aligned with your authentic self.
So it's about more than just, lighting candles and chanting spells. It's about an inner journey, a shift in perspective.
It's about becoming the maelstrom, remember, a force of nature capable of weathering any storm and creating something truly extraordinary.
Okay, so to wrap things up, we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about agnostic magic, demonic inspiration, energy work, rituals, divination, even a little bit of blood magic. I'm guessing some of this might have sounded a bit out there, even for people who are into, spirituality and all that.
It's definitely not your typical self-help book, but I think that's what makes Thorne's work so fascinating. He pushes the boundaries, challenges us to rethink everything we thought we knew about, well, pretty much everything.
He's definitely not afraid to explore the, let's say, unconventional side of spirituality.
He encourages us to question our assumptions, to explore those uncharted territories of the self and the spirit world. He's basically saying, here's a map, but don't be afraid to go off the beaten path.
And who knows what you might discover along the way, right?
Exactly, and I think that's a powerful message no matter where you are on your journey. To trust your intuition, to be open to the possibility that magic in all its forms might be more accessible than we think, and maybe, just maybe,
You might surprise yourself with what you're capable of.
you might even find yourself becoming the maelstrom.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Thorne's Become the Maelstrom. We hope this has given you some food for thought, some new perspectives to consider, and maybe even a little spark of inspiration to embark on your own exploration. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.